Hi everyone. So today the topic that I'll be sharing on is thriving as a TOT leader and new mom. Okay, before I start proper, can I just have a raise of hand? Who here is the producer? Who here is the leader? And who here is the parent? Anyway, it doesn't matter, because regardless of the role you play, I'm confident that you guys will walk away with some valuable insights today. So in August 2023, I found I was pregnant. And it was a very special year for me because that year, my agency was running for the Top New Director Group Award. And at that point, we were about 700,000 FYC away from our goal. At the same time, I was also chasing my top of the table qualification. And at that time, I was about 4 times MDRT away. So I remember the exact fear I faced. I had so many question marks. No more sushi, no more coffee, and no more alcohol. Basically, everything that kept me sane was suddenly off limits. Could I even be normal? Then the real fears crept in. How would being pregnant affect my career? Could I still perform at the highest level while growing this tiny human inside me? Will my team still see me as the same leader? And most importantly, would I ever sleep again? So, fast forward to today, my agency came in the first runner-up in the Top New Director Group Award in 2023, and in the same year, I cleared my top of the table qualification. But beyond the achievements, the biggest lesson I've learned is that thriving as a leader and mom isn't about choosing one or the other. It's about learning how to adapt, balance, and sometimes just survive the chaos. And if you've ever wondered to yourself, can I really do it all? I had the same question, and that's why I'm here today to share with you my journey, some of the challenges I faced, and some of the strategies that worked for me. So good morning, everyone. I'm Ting, and I wear many hats. I'm the director of my agency, Dr. Finn, TOT advisor, wife to my amazing husband, Greg, and most recently, a first-time mom to my baby girl, Gaia. And just to share a little bit more on my background, so I graduated from SMU in 2013. And in that year, I joined OCBC Bank. And in my first full year in the bank, I came in number 1, the top bancassurance specialist in 2014. And in end 2015, I took the leap of faith to join Great Eastern. And I started from scratch, building my team, and in 7 years' time, I got promoted to a director in 2022. And in the following year, 2023, we came up first runner-up, Top New Director Group category. Over the years, I've done 8 MDRTs, 3 COTs, and 2 TOTs. So I used to be a complete workaholic. You know, I live by the motto, work hard, play harder. So I could put in 15 hours a day at work, and I could still go out with friends for drinks after dinner appointments. I could survive on 4 hours sleep, no issue. Then, I had my first child. And suddenly that motto didn't work anymore. Lives changed, and so did my perspective. So I remember one incident so vividly during my first trimester. I was battling the worst case of morning sickness, and I had a work appointment to go for in the afternoon. And so as I was driving on the highway, rushing to my appointment, my body had other plans. I had this intense urge to puke, and so I did, all over my dashboard, my steering wheel, and into my cup holder as well. In that moment, I just felt so helpless and so terrible. And the smell, so gross and so sour, it made me want to puke even more. And I remember stopping my car by the road shoulder. I called my husband, sobbing, questioning everything. Could I continue to push myself to the limit like I always had? Or did I have to compromise on my goals? And the answer to these 2 questions was, I couldn't. And I realized that I didn't have to. As much as that moment on the highway was so awful, it was also a turning point for myself because it helped me to see that success isn't about how hard you push. It's about how well you adapt. And I didn't have to operate like how I always used to be. I had to find a new rhythm. And if I could learn to do that, I wasn't just going to survive this journey. I was going to thrive in it. And so I did. I found a new rhythm in 3 areas of my life: sales, leadership, and family. And so in terms of my own sales, so I only had that 4 months to clear my 4 times MDRT, right? And so every move had to count. My average case size is about 12,000 premium, and so I have to close about 42 cases to meet the shortfall. Working backwards, breaking down the goal, that part was easy. Anyone could do that. But what made it really work in that tight time frame wasn't just the math. It was ROI. Not return on investment, though obviously that's like super important for our clients, but I meant return on interaction. Sitting here in this room, we are all in the insurance industry, but I believe you are in more than insurance business. We are in the people business. And that's why every relationship built over the years and every new interaction now, they are so important. Those were what made it allow me to move fast when I needed to. And so I doubled down on what mattered most. Number 1, focusing on the right people. Right? I'm not saying that I categorize my clients into right clients or wrong clients. No, it's not that. But what I did was to really did a dive into my business model and find out where my efforts can create the most impact for my business model. And then I prioritize those meaningful interactions according to my expertise and my offerings. Number 2, leveraging trust. I wasn't starting from scratch. I had been nurturing relationships before, and these relationships delivered when I needed them to. And that was because trust was already established. Lastly, being intentional. By prioritizing and planning my schedule, I was able to ensure I dedicated most energy to activities aligned with my goals. And that means, I have to cut out inefficiencies, minimize social activities. And with that, I cleared my 4 times MDRT in 4 months. Moving on. In terms of leadership, if I had the last 4 months and I wanted to bring my agency to the top, I had to lead differently that season. It couldn't just be me wanting to achieve that goal myself. I had to make everyone aligned, motivated, and pushing towards a common vision. And that wasn't easy, because at that point, some of them had already lost faith. We were so far behind our finish point. And so, if I want them to all fight again, I had to make them believe again. So it was back to ROI. I designed a 4-month grand plan centered around maximizing the impact of every interaction. Firstly, I turned my vulnerability into strength. I believe that leadership isn't about pretending that you have answers to all the questions. It isn't about, pretending that you never struggle. It is about being real, authentic, and that means being vulnerable sometimes too. So I remember the days when I felt so drained. The physical toll was real, fatigue, nausea, and just moments when I really needed to nap. And also, there were my hormonal days when I could cry over the smallest thing. Right? But instead of trying to hide all of that, I led with transparency. I showed them that I was struggling. I showed them that I wasn't at my 100%. But at the end of the day, I showed up. 2, leading by example. I made one thing very clear. I wasn't going to make them do something that I wasn't going to do myself. We were running road shows every day in the last 4 months of the year. And as much as I could, I would be there. Not just for welfare, not just to buy them bubble tea. I would be there on the ground, pulling prospects to them, talking to prospects and closing cases. And on top of that, I was also running my own sales appointments. I showed them that I had skin in the game. And when they recognized that, when they saw me out there running about, hustling with my little bum, it reignited their fire. If I could do it, they could too. And so when that fire was reignited within the agency, I moved on to optimize internal interactions for maximum output. So I split my agency into two distinct groups, the aspirants and the achievers, and had tailored approach for each of the two groups. So for the aspirants, they were the group of people who were still chasing their goals, and they were the group that needed more than just encouragement. They needed a clear roadmap to see that they can actually achieve their goal. And so for that last few months, their schedule, their roadshow days, their appointment days were all assigned by yours truly. And for the achievers, they were the ones who have already hit MDRT. So on top of helping me to motivate the aspirants, they had to push beyond their current limits. They have to see how they can do more than what they set out to do at the start of the year. And on top of all this, I cut out things that did not drive direct progress, right? And that includes canceling general agency meetings and only held high-impact huddles with those two groups. With that, I started to see the energy shift within the agency. People stopped asking, can I really do it? And people started asking, what more can I do? It was the change in the mindset, not just the action, along with the shared commitment and streamlined interactions that allow us to achieve our collective goal together. And so, I'm sure you guys will agree that 2023 was a year full of achievements for myself and my agency. But my greatest achievement came in April 2024, when I gave birth to my baby girl, Gaia. I'm completely in love with her. I'm so obsessed with her. She gave me my most fulfilling role yet. She made me a mother. And with this new role, it came a new level of stress that I had never experienced before. The endless crying, the constant nursing, the sleepless nights, all while my business still demanded my attention. And then came the mom guilt. Every time I answer a work call, while rocking her to sleep, I wondered, am I being present enough? And every time I step out for a client meeting, I question, am I a bad mom for not being home? In fact, right now, I'm still struggling a lot with mom guilt, but I've found ways to better manage it. Number one, reframing guilt into gratitude. Right? Instead of feeling bad for working, I remind myself, I'm building something that will give her a better life. I'm not choosing work over her. 2, quality over quantity. So every morning, 6 to 7 a.m. when she wakes up, I'll be awake as well. And I'll spend at least 2 hours of quality time with her. Playing, reading to her, singing to her, and then I step out for work. So in the event that if that day, I couldn't make it back before her sleep time, I wouldn't feel so bad, because I've already spent that 2 hours of undistracted love and attention. And to me, that's better than a half day or even a whole day of half-hearted presence. Thirdly, letting go of perfection. On some days, I'll miss a milestone. On some days, I'll miss a deadline. And I tell myself, that's okay. So on top of mom guilt, this new role also came an entirely new challenge. And the million-dollar question, how do I balance it all? So I found a new rhythm for family. Number one, I had to redefine what success meant to me. Success used to mean hitting every target at any cost. Now, success means building a business model, building a life that's sustainable. It means pushing forward without burning out. It means winning without sacrificing what matters most. And basically just striving to a place where I can have both ambition and balance. 2, self-care. So I've always been someone who believes in the value of self-care. You can't give your best if you don't feel your best. And this philosophy has become even more important during pregnancy and through motherhood. So I make it a point to carve out time in my daily routine for myself. right? It could mean midday retail therapy, it could mean a spontaneous massage in Natureland, or even dining solo in my favorite restaurant, Hai Di Lao. You know, I remind myself that taking time for myself is not selfish. In fact, it is necessary for me to show up to be the best version of myself. The true ROI, and that is investing in myself so that I can invest in others. And recently, I've been practicing this thing called the third space. So I first heard of this concept in last year's TOT conference in Hawaii. So Dr. Adam Fraser, he shared the story of this businessman who was always so busy and stressed at work, his first space. And inevitably, there's this spillover effect to his second space, which was his home. So his kids and his wife, they suffered because he was always just this really tense and distracted figure at home. It came to a point when he realized he needed a space in between his first space and second space to just unwind and reset before seeing his family. And so what he did was he built a door at home that led him straight to his bedroom, where he would take a long shower to let go of all the negativities, and then step into the living room to see the family. And this has helped him to become a more present father, a more present husband at home. And when I heard this, I was like, this is pretty relevant. I would like to practice this for myself. And so I found my third space. It's my drive back home. So in the past, when I drive back home, I'll be making last-minute work calls or be stressing about unfinished work. But now, once I step into my car, I blast the AC, I blast my favorite music, Blackpink, reset and acknowledge any stress or frustration, then let it go. And often, I will call my sister as well. So my sister lives in New Zealand, but we're really close. So over the phone call, we will just laugh, reconnect, and catch up. This is a very simple ritual, but it really helps me to reset such that when I step into home, I'm not just physically home. I'm also both emotionally and mentally present as well. And this third space concept can be applied equally to leadership. For instance, if today I were to go for a closing sales appointment, expecting to close a universal life, but to walk away with a casual life, right? Of course, I will be feeling pretty down and lousy and could potentially bring that negative energy to my next meeting, which could be a coaching session with my agent, where I cannot give my 100%. And so that's why a third space became very important, because it is an outlet for us to reset and recalibrate. Because as leaders, I believe that we need to always ensure we bring the right energy to the right space. So I encourage all of you to find your own third space, because this small but powerful shift has changed the way that I showed up, not as a mother, but also as a leader. Lastly, it takes a village to raise a child. I've heard this so many times in the past, but I couldn't understand it. I'll be like, what do you mean? I think I can do everything, right? But now that I have a child, yes, it truly takes a village to raise one, right? As much as I want to do everything myself, I realize that I can't. And I'm not afraid to lean on to my support system, which consists of my husband, my mom, my in-laws, and even my helper. To me, I feel like sharing the load shouldn't be seen as a sign of weakness, because it helps me to achieve things that I cannot otherwise do alone. And this lesson carries over to leadership as well. It also takes a village to run a successful team. So similarly, I'm not afraid to lean into the strength of those around me in the same agency, because together we can foster an environment where everyone can excel and achieve far more than any one person could do alone. And as I wrap up, I would like to leave you guys with this one key message. Success isn't about choosing between ambition and family. It is about finding a rhythm that works for you. And motherhood didn't make me any weaker or any less ambitious. In fact, it made me sharper, and it helped me to lead smarter. So to all the young ladies in this room, start building a strong foundation for your business. Go out there and make meaningful connections when you still have the abundance of time at your disposal. And when the time comes, you get to reap the real ROI. And to the mothers in this room, I've always sold this career as one with flexibility. But only after becoming a mom, it gave a new depth to that term. So let's all take full advantage of the flexibility to pursue ROI both at home and work. And to the men in this room, you're not forgotten. This topic may seem a bit irrelevant to you on the surface, but it matters. It matters for the mothers in your team. It matters for the women in your team that will one day step into motherhood. And you get to maximize ROI through really understanding the potential challenges that motherhood brings. And that can make you a more empathetic male leader to this group. And so at the core of it all is ROI, return on interaction, whether is it family, leadership, or sales. Every conversation, every coaching session, and every moment with your loved ones should be maximized. Because remember, it's not about doing more, but about making every interaction count. Thank you.